Okay, we're ready to go. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the special meeting notice, which was published as a legal advertisement in the Herald News on December 12, 2022. Further notice of this meeting was given prior to the meeting by posting said notice on bulletin board at City Hall and on City Clifton website, which notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken on the matters to come before the Municipal Council. Please rise for the flag salute. I Council, you can remain standing. No. Okay, we're going to be swearing in the new council for 2023 as soon as I do roll call. Thank you, Michelle. Councilman Gibson. Here. Councilman Grabowski. Here. Councilman Kaloje. Present. Councilman Latona. Here. Councilwoman Murphy.
Here.
Councilwoman Pino. Here. Councilwoman Cedric.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay. Raise your right hand, please. Forget it.
I have to get my glasses out so I can see.
Repeat after me, and you're going to say your name one at a time.
I, William Gibson. I, Ray Grabowski. I, Joseph Kaloje. I, Antonio Latona.
I, Lauren Murphy,
I, Rosemary Pino.
I, Mary Sadler.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the
in the
United States
United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties
all the duties
of councilperson
of
of the
councilperson
City of Clifton according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, everyone. If you would all sign your oaths of office.
Nancy, before you take nominations for the mayor, since it's been a very long time since we've had a change of regime, could I ask maybe the city attorney to go over what the duties under this form of government and the role of the mayor are?
Councilman, rather than me give a recitation, if you bear with me for 2 minutes, I could go grab the statute book or have it brought down and read it to you?
And I apologize, I should have asked you.
Sure.
Does anybody mind if we wait? Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. I will now accept a nomination. I'm sorry.
He's going to go get the statute book so he could read it, if you don't mind.
Hear him.
I know, it's hard to hear. Thanks, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
Okay, is everybody ready? Under our form of government, the relevant statute is NJSA 40:81-8, Mayor Powers and Duties. The mayor shall preside at all meetings of the municipal council and shall have a voice and vote in its proceedings, but shall not have the power of veto. He shall fill the vacancies, and I should say, updating it, it should say he or she, but he shall fill the vacancies occurring in the trustees of the public library for such terms of offices as are provided by law. All bonds, notes, contracts, and written obligations of the municipality shall be executed on its behalf by the mayor, or in the event of his inability to act, by such councilman as the municipal council shall designate to act as mayor during his absence or disability. The powers and duties of the mayor shall be only such as are expressly conferred upon him by this subtitle. That's it.
Doesn't it also say that the mayor appoints the planning board
Not in that particular statute, but the mayor does appoint the planning board.
and the library board
That was mentioned in the
and
statute.
the environmental board, I believe, too, correct? Nancy,
Under
right?
our statute, our ordinance, the mayor appoints the environmental committee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you, fellow colleagues.
Okay. Can I have a nomination for mayor, please?
Rise to be recognized by the chair.
Yes.
I would like to nominate Ray Grabowski as mayor.
Second.
I would
Councilman
like,
Grabowski, do you accept the nomination? Yes. Are there any other nominations?
I would like to nominate Antonio Latona for mayor.
Is there a second?
I'll second that nomination.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, can I have a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, as I call your name, you will give me your vote, please. Yep. Councilman Gibson.
Tony Latona.
Councilman Grabowski.
I vote for myself.
Councilman Kalojay.
As the will of the people, I vote for Councilman Grabowski.
Councilman Latona.
I'll vote for myself.
Councilwoman Murphy.
Councilman Grabowski.
Councilwoman Pino.
Councilman Latona.
Councilwoman Sedricula.
This vote is about uniting this city. What has gone on cannot go on for 4 years. It really cannot. We have such important issues to talk about. We face a significant budget deficit. My vote is for the top vote getter.
Not yet.
Remember, we have an extra chair. Oh, we got an extra one?
Yeah, there's one extra chair, so.
Okay. Okay, if you would repeat after me. Is your microphone on?
Yes, it is.
I, Raymond Grabowski,
I, Raymond Grabowski,
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United
that I will
States
support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the
I will
same
bear true faith and allegiance
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties
all of the duties
of Mayor of the City of Clifton
of Mayor of the City of Clifton
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can adjourn. It's your show.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn, to meet back at 6:30.
So moved.
Second.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings of the Municipal Council for the year 2023, which was published as a legal advertisement in the Herald News and the Record on December 12, 2022. Further notice of this meeting was given on Friday prior to the meeting by posting such notice on the bulletin board at City Hall and on the City of Clifton's website, which notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken on the matters to come before the Municipal Council. Roll call.
Councilman Gibson?
Here.
Councilman Kaloje?
Present.
Councilman Latona? Here. Councilwoman Murphy?
Here.
Councilwoman Pino?
Here.
Councilwoman Sedrakula?
Here.
Mayor Grabowski?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we'll go into action items. Action item 1, Chief Financial Officer recommends the adoption of 2023 Annual Financial Resolution on the City Council agenda.
Move it, Mayor.
Second.
So moved. Action item 2, Schulteis Farm Parking Lot Improvement. City Engineer recommends award of contract to Dunor Contracting, Inc.
I'd like to make a motion to reject this bid for the following reasons. This is the porous paving, which is a lot more expensive than regular paving. And the way it's going to be paid is with the ARP grant. I think there's a better use of funds. This is just to pave the parking lot at Schulteis Farm is $404,759. We face a significant budget crisis, and this money could be better used in someplace else. So with that, I'd like to reject this motion and go out for bid for regular paving.
Mayor?
Councilwoman, we would need to check whether there's a legal reason we could reject. The most you could do tonight would be to table it, and then we'll take a look at it to see if there was
Then I
a...
make a motion to table.
Mayor, may I be heard? So at the last meeting, we brought this item forward, and the question was, why is it so expensive? Paving has become expensive in general. In fact, contractors that are doing work in Clifton, the prices are going to go up, folks. And I brought this to the council before. Nonetheless, this is a grant. The grant pays for the entire project. Yes, it's more expensive because it is a permeable, or water could get through it. So it's a little bit more expensive than regular paving. It was the engineer's estimate matches the contractor's quote. And there's really no reason to hold this up. It was bid properly. The money is there. It's coming from a grant. So at this point, there's no reason to hold this up.
Mayor,
Go ahead, Liz.
it pays for the entire project, the grant, every single penny of it?
Pardon?
It pays for the entire project?
Correct, yes.
There's not one penny coming
No,
out of our budget?
everything is paid for by the grant.
Okay, well,
But the grant, Mayor, through you,
yes.
the grant is the ARPA grant, correct? And what else could we use this money for?
This particular project, this money was allocated for this specific reason. If council didn't want to do this, you should have brought this forward before we went out for bid. Now is not the time to pull something back because for whatever reason you don't want to award it. We have the money. It was bid properly. This is the low bidder. He may challenge if you pull it. At this point, there's really no reason, unless you don't have the money. That's really the only reasons why you would not award a bid. So why are you waiting till this point in the game to try to kill the project?
Well, as I said, you didn't answer my question. My question was, what else could this money be used for? Like an ambulance?
Councilwoman, this project, the money was slated specific for this project. So you have to use it for this project, otherwise you turn it back.
Then, according to the lawyer, we could table this and they could look at not doing this. So I make a motion to table.
I'm sorry, I would like to continue to discuss this if we could, Mayor,
Sure.
for the motion. My apologies, Councilwoman. To the city manager, because in a city that has been experiencing flooding issues, I'm looking at the project description that says the reconstruction of the existing concrete parking lot, porous asphalt, perforated underground collection system. Can you explain that in a little greater detail?
Yes. So in essence, what the contractor is going to do is going to go there and remove all the concrete that's on the site, rip it all up, and then you put a series of under drains underneath the proposed pavement. The purpose is as the water percolates through the pavement, it's caught in these drains and it's taken away so it doesn't sit underneath the roadway or the parking lot, because that can create frost heave and damages the parking lot. So the under drains, in essence, are helpful in removing any of the water that percolates through the pavement and it gets it out from underneath the pavement.
So I guess the follow-up question is, do we require developers to use this same type of technology?
It's not required, but it's a preferred. This is sort of the go green concept, you know, the new type of paving. There are problems with it. I'm not going to say that it's the perfect, surface to put down. There are some problems. The problems occur later on with potential clogging of those pores as sand gets into those pores. But there's a maintenance schedule that goes with that, so that will remove any of those clogs, if you will.
So then, as a policy body, can we change our ordinance that would require developers to use this type of technology to address flooding? I guess that's maybe more of a legal
I
question.
think we should discuss that more, Councilman, before we jump into it. I don't want to make every street a pervious pavement, so
I'm not
I
talking about
I understand
streets.
you're
I'm talking-
referring
I'm-
to development.
I'm not
I
talking
get
about
it,
streets, I'm
but
talking about parking lots.
Yep. I don't know if that is something that I think we should talk about it some more before we impose it on a developer.
I have a motion to table. Do I have a second on that? Okay, no second. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Roll call.
Councilman Gibson?
After explaining it more in detail, I vote yes in favor.
Councilman Kalojay?
Yes.
Councilman Latona?
Yes, I agree. 400,000 is a lot of money for a parking lot, but it is to help with the flooding, and it's being paid for by a grant. So for that reason, I will vote yes.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pino?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sedgwick-Lula?
No.
Mayor Grabowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
So moved. Action item 3, Schulteis Farm Parking Lot Improvement. City engineer recommends awarding professional construction management services contract to Suburban Consulting Engineers, Inc.
Move it.
Second.
Mayor, can we have a roll call, please?
Have a roll call, please.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Kalojay?
Yes, this is to ensure that the job is done correctly, yes.
Councilman Latona?
Yes.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pino?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sedgwick-Lula?
No.
Mayor Grabowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Action item 5, authorization to approve awarding a contract to PL Custom
No, 4, Mayor.
Or,
Anzaldi Park Improvements, formerly Athenia Park. City engineer recommends awarding professional construction management services contract to Neglia Group.
move it for discussion purposes.
Second.
Discussion?
Did we go out for RFPs with this?
Not for are you referring to the construction management services?
Correct.
No, we are doing it under professional services. And if you notice, the estimate is about 6.5% of the contract amount. Typically, that's well within the range. It's actually on the lower side of the range. I'm sorry, 5.3. It's even better. There's really no need to, go out for additional bids.
Thank you.
Also, Neglia did the design, so I always prefer to have the same company that did the design stay with the construction. That way, any of the problems are determined and figured out by that company.
Any objections? So moved.
Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
No objections?
Can I ask a question before you move on? Is there a reason why our screens aren't on?
I don't know.
Okay.
Action item 5, authorization to approve awarding a contract to PL Custom Emergency Vehicles for 2 ambulance and emergency medical transport vehicles off of Sourcewell.
Move it.
Move it. Second.
Objections? So moved.
Mayor,
Yes.
I also like the public to know that this is being paid by ARPA It's not going to be a cost to the taxpayers.
So noted. Okay, action item 6, authorization to approve award for final year extension for medical billing and collection services.
Move it.
Second.
Objection, so moved. Action item 7, authorization to approve advertisement to notice of intent to procure 2 new Fireliner vocational chassis off the HGAC National Cooperative.
Move it.
Second.
No objections, so ordered. Authorization to approve as-needed procurement via New Jersey State contracts and New Jersey State DLGS authorized New Jersey state-based cooperative contracts.
Move it, please.
Second.
Hearing no objections. Authorization to approve award professional services contract for psychological evaluations to the Institute of Forensic Psychology.
Move it.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Gibson.
Yes.
Councilman Kalojay.
Yes.
Councilman Latona.
Well, I'm going to vote no because one of the things I ran on was to go out to RFQ for more of our services to get a better, for the taxpayers. So I'm voting no because for all of services going forward, I'm going to look to go to RFQ. So no.
Okay, Councilwoman Murphy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pino.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sedgwick.
No.
Mayor Grabowski.
Yes.
Vote is 5 yes, 2 no, motion carried.
Action item 10, authorization to approve awarding bid contract for vegetation waste disposal to RER Supply LLC.
Move it for discussion purposes only.
Second.
Discussion?
Mayor, through you to the city manager, what percentage increase, how much is this over the last contract?
It equates to about $200,000 a year, but I don't know what that relates to the former contract. Dave, would you happen to have that information available? I don't know offhand how much the previous contract was for. We could look that up for you. And folks, I hope you all got my email, right? Yes. What I asked in the email is that I gave you time that when you go over the packet, if you have any of these questions, if you could give me the heads up, I could look it up for you. So when we come here, there's no need to go through this. I could have the information available for you. But it's something I would have to look up to see how much it went up from the prior 5-year contract.
These were, we received 2 bids, correct? This was the low bid?
Yep.
We needed, it was 2 bids, it's the low bidder, but if you can get back to us what last year's, percentage-wise, I'm thinking of the budget, that's why I asked. I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Mayor, through you, I have a question also for the city manager.
Let's go ahead.
Ms. Solano, do we normally do 5-year contracts on these items, or is it normally a 3-year with a 2-year option?
We have been doing 3 with 2 one-year options, Councilman. Yeah, so I hope you all understand so the way we bid both our garbage and our vegetative waste is that we bid the collection, and what this is the actual cost of disposal. So once the hauler, Roselli, picks up all the vegetative waste, they bring it to DPW. In turn, we put it on trucks and we bring it to RER, and then we pay RER directly. So we pay Roselli for the collection of it, garbage and vegetative waste, as well as the disposal of garbage and vegetative waste. So it's been a 3 with a 2 one-year option.
So yeah, my question then is, this looks like it's a 5-year contract, and being locked into 5 years, if there's an issue, if something changes 3 years from now, it changes our opportunity to look at a different vendor.
Correct.
So is there a reason why we locked into a 5-year instead of a 3-2 like we normally do for vegetative waste, garbage, recycling?
Yeah. Good question. I'm not sure why we...
Councilman, I was just taking a look at the cover page. It looks like the purchasing agent, who's now retired, said it's the attached memo, and there's nothing attached.
Matt, I'm sorry, but we cannot hear you.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. It looks like the memo is not attached. I'm assuming that information might be explained in the memo? Unless that's the resolution. I don't know. But we could get that information for you.
We had a motion and a second.
So moved, Mayor.
Let's have a roll call on this, please. Which one? Action item 10.
Before we, Mayor, through you, if this is the vegetative waste, correct? And we're done for 2022, correct?
Yes, that's
It would
correct.
start
In
in what,
March 22nd of 2023.
Okay, so since there is legitimate questions that Councilman Latona had about why this is a 5-year, we have to make sure that we went out to bid correctly and it matches the garbage. Is there any reason that we couldn't table this to find out that
Let's
answer?
table it if council's okay with that. And we also going to be bringing you the solid waste contract that we just received, so maybe we could talk about these two contracts simultaneously.
And I'll make that motion to table.
Second.
Before we do, are Christmas trees considered vegetative waste?
They're picked up separately by us, by the DPW.
Okay, motion to table, roll call.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes to table.
Councilman Kalojay?
Yes.
Councilman Latona?
Yes.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pino?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sedgwick?
Yes to
Mayor
table.
Grabowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Action item 11, authorization to approve awarding a contract to North Jersey Friendship House pursuant to NJSA for custodial cleaning services.
Move it.
Second.
Question to Mayor, through you to the city manager, was there any increase in the contract?
There was, Councilwoman, the increase resulted from, we added one location, and with two of the locations, we are doing daily cleanings, where cleanings, mopping, and so forth, where it used to be done alternate days. So in essence, what we're doing is we added another facility, and we're increasing the number of days that they clean certain facilities.
Which location did we add, and which location are we increasing the cleaning of?
Well, we've added the, we're having the Code Blue at the rec center, right? We've been holding that. So that requires more cleaning, more frequent cleaning. And we've added the clinic, the botany clinic, and we've increased the number of days that we clean there. These two that I can think offhand, I know there's another one or two in that mix.
And the amount that it was increased roughly by?
It was about roughly 30,000. It went from, I believe, 120 to about 150.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any objections? So ordered. Action item 12, authorization to approve awarding professional service contract to provide to EMSL Analytical, Inc. for analytical laboratory services.
Move it.
Second.
No objections, so moved. Action item 13, authorization to approve renewal of special counsel services for affordable housing litigation 2023 to Dakotas, Fitzpatrick, Cole, and Giblin.
Move it.
I'm going to abstain from 13, 14, and council item 15.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, hearing no objections, so moved. Action item 14, authorization to approve renewal of contract for disciplinary hearing counsel and hearing officer.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections. A15, authorization to approve renewal of employment litigation counsel contract, Carmignola and Ritardi.
Move it.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, please.
Before you do that, Councilman Latona, I don't think this one's one that you were involved in. Thank you.
Okay, A15, Lauren and Joe. Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Kalojay?
Yes.
Councilman Latona?
I'm going to either ask for a motion for us to go out to RFQ for all these services coming up.
I'm sorry?
I said,
Well, we have to
I'm making a
vote on
motion
this.
to go to,
Yeah, it's just strictly
You have to
voting
vote.
on
We have
this.
to vote on
and I'm
this.
going to vote no.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to vote no.
No? Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pino?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sedgwick?
No.
Mayor Grabowski?
Yes.
Vote is 5 yes, 2 no, motion carried.
A16, authorization to approve renewal of contract for economic development coordinator, Alan Riff.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections. A17, authorization to approve renewal of professional services contract for General Environmental Counsel, DECODIS.
I'm going to abstain from, what is this, A17?
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections except for the extension. A18, authorization to approve renewal of contract for outside employment counsel for independent investigations, Gina Mendola.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections.
Mayor, roll call on that, please. Thank you.
Can I have a roll call on A18, please?
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Colodge?
Yes.
Councilman Latona?
No.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pino?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sedricula?
No.
Mayor Grabowski?
Yes.
Vote is 5 yes, 2 no, motion carried.
So moved. A19, authorization to approve reappointment of special law
Move
enforcement
it.
officers.
Second.
Hearing no objections. A20, authorization to award contract to Lurch, Vinci, and Higgins LLP for
Move it.
municipal auditing services for year 2023 for the fiscal year ending December 31st.
Move it.
Mayor?
Second.
Mayor, question to the city manager.
Question?
Mr. Valano, I see it a couple times in our booklet that we're getting no second bids on some of the stuff we're putting out, about 3 different occasions. Or is it getting out everywhere? Are we not, making a better effort, or is just?
Well, actually, on this one, I was calling the mayor's attention, is that we actually posted this, advertised it, and we received just the one bid. So I just want to let you know that this one was advertised.
Mayor, through you to the city manager.
Go ahead.
Our packet says it was advertised on the city website. Was it advertised in any of the newspapers?
Actually, the form of advertisement, the city's website, that is a form of advertisement.
But we didn't do
No,
it in any of.
I don't believe he put it into a regular solicitation. He followed the DCA's recommendation.
Mayor, through you, one more question for the city manager.
Question?
Nick, one more thing. Do we then, if there's multiple firms out there, if something's going out we're looking for services, do we send it to each one of the 4 or 5 different firms out there to let them know? So if they're not looking in the newspaper, they know there's a bid out there, or what's that?
We've done both. We have where we sent the company a notice, say, hey, and it says you could pick up the specs, whatever the RFP is, or we just put them out and let bidders come and, respond to it.
Thank you.
Okay, a motion is second.
Roll call on that, please.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Gibson?
Yes.
Councilman Colodge?
Yes.
Councilman Latona?
Yes.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pino?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sedricula?
No.
Mayor Grabowski?
Yes.
Vote is 6 yes, 1 no, motion carried.
Action item 21, authorization to award professional bond counsel services contract to Wellins, Goldman, and Spitzer.
Mayor,
Yes.
if might be heard. On this one, we also did the same. We did put it out for, the attorney that was representing us passed away, so we advertised it with the same firm was the bond counsel that responded.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections. 822, authorization to award professional financial advisory services contract to Phoenix Adsons for 2023, year 2023.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections.
Mayor, through you, just to the city manager, I believe from what my memory, the cost looks about the same, maybe a slight increase. I thought it was the same, if I remember correctly, from the bond meetings.
It's about the same from
About the
what I-
same,
what
right?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, no objections, so moved. 823, authorization to approve awarding contract for special tax appeal counsel.
Move it.
Hearing no objections. 824, authorization to approve renewal of appraisers for tax appeals, Hendricks and McNerney.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections. 825, authorization to approve zoning board and adjustment professional services contracts.
Move it for discussion purposes only.
Second.
Discussion?
Mayor, through you to the city manager, or maybe to legal. When I look at the correspondence before the resolution, we talk about 2 things approving, that the zoning board approved the hiring of a new legal firm of Cornell, Merlino, And I don't see that in the resolution. The resolution only discusses the planner. So was that missed by some reason that we would have to approve this?
Let us check. There should be two separate resolutions.
I only saw one, but I could be wrong. My next question is, do we know, and I do understand that the zoning board is a separate body, but when I look at this the firm that they chose, they have zero experience in land use. They're Board of Education attorneys. So I wonder, were there interviews, and do we know how the board picked this attorney?
Mayor,
Because
through you?
Yes, again.
I questioned the same, Councilwoman. I did look up the firm. They do specialize in mostly Board of Ed, but there were, I believe, 3 different attorneys that were interviewed. And out of the 3, this seems to be this particular firm seemed to be the most knowledgeable or the best interviewed. I wasn't present in the interview, so I cannot comment on how they performed.
And Nick, also, that's their purview to pick counsel.
That's correct.
Right, we don't really weigh in on this. Technically.
I don't get interfere, but
Yeah.
I wanted, due to uniqueness of this particular one and Mr. Pokorellic leaving, I felt that I should, voice my opinion. And, they responded that they conducted interviews, and this was the best out of the 3.
Mayor, through you, one additional question. I presume this firm, should the zoning board and the city be sued, this attorney would be representing the zoning board?
No, actually, if you look at their recommendation, they appointed John Pogarelic Sr. as litigation counsel.
Okay.
You have a
And
motion?
the payment for that is based in hourly, I would presume?
I believe it's $150 an hour.
150.
And Dave, refresh my memory on the other question. We don't prepare the resolution. The board does for the
Adjustment does, right?
Board of Adjustment attorney would prepare the
Okay.
resolution.
But I'm correct, it's just one, correct?
Well, 33
Three.
refers to
The planner.
tax appeal council.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's. looks
thank
like-
you.
Mayor, through you, Question, City Manager.
Go ahead.
Nick, I'm just looking, as I went through the packet, I see the Board of Adjustments went to RFQ for services, but the planning board or none of the municipal attorney hires go to an RFQ. Is there a reason why the Board of Adjustment did and the other ones didn't?
We always ask the planning board as well to provide an RFQ.
Actually, Councilman, the reason is because John Pogarelic Sr. retired as the board attorney. He wanted to stay on just as litigation counsel.
I got you, but that's not answering my question, why the board, shouldn't we be going to RFQ for pretty much all professional services that the Board of Adjustment went to an RFQ, but we don't do it for retirement or not for the planning board or for any of the municipal attorney hires?
We do for the planning board and the zoning board. I know that the planning board solicits RFQs, RFPs, whatever, every year, just so they have the hourly rates on file, and, they're chosen as the,
Thank you.
as a consultant.
And Nick, do we approve the salaries for that?
Yes,
Matt? Do we approve their salaries?
yes.
Yes, that's in essence why it's before this council.
Okay, so-
In essence,
'cause, yeah,
to make
we-
sure the
we
rates
approve the
are in
rates.
accordance with current
Okay,
rates.
all right. Any objections on this action item? Okay, so moved. We had,
Need a motion to approve.
Move it.
Is there-
any objections? So moved. 826, authorization to approve amending R261-22 for bus shelter contract extensions.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections. 827, authorization to approve reappointment of members of the Zoning Board of Adjustments.
Move it.
Second.
Okay, hearing no objections. Authorization to approve reappointment of members of the Board of Recreation.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections. 829, authorization to approve reappointment of members of Historical Commission.
Move it.
Second.
Objections. Authorization to approve reappointment of members to the CATV Committee.
Second.
Hearing no objections. 831, authorization to approve reappointment of members to the Beautification Committee.
Move it.
Hearing no objections. Authorization to approve reappointment of members of the Disabilities Committee.
Move it.
Second.
I have, Mayor, through you, to question to the city manager. Does one of the applicants, I remember when he was first appointed to this committee, Dr. Jeffrey Gold, he did not reside, I was not on council then, he did not reside in the city of Clifton. Do we know if he has since moved to the city of Clifton, or is he still a resident of another city?
I don't know.
Well, then,
Mayor,
Councilwoman, I just sent him a letter today. He is
Mayor.
in Clifton.
he lives in Clifton? Thank you, Nancy. Okay.
Councilman Gibson?
yes, he does live in Clifton.
Okay. One other thing also, Nance, Rebecca Rader is a member of that. She's up for reappointment.
No, she doesn't
She
want
moved
to be
out,
on
yeah,
it.
she moved out. 'cause-
Yeah, she doesn't want to be on
Okay.
it.
She called me this morning. All right, 823, authorization to approve renewal of clothing donation bin license.
Can we do 33 to 38 all in one motion? Yes?
Sounds good to me.
Second.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move that group. Okay, action item 39, authorization to approve awarding contract to Kotulak and Company for community development.
Move it.
Second.
Hearing no objections. 840, authorization to approve fixing fees for delinquent taxes or assessments for 2023.
Move it.
Second.
Second.
Action item 41, authorization to approve awarding contract for provision of veterinary services to Animal Shelter of Clifton.
Move it.
Second.
No objections. 42, authorization to approve agreement between City of Clifton and DIAL for handicap services.
Move it.
Second.
Okay. 43, authorization to approve applying for enhancing local police health infrastructure grant.
Move it.
Second.
No objections. And action item 44, authorization to approve amending contract to Timothy Colwell, MD, for professional.
Move it.
Second.
Second.
No objections. Okay, I think that concludes action items. Okay, we have, on late items, we have a discussion item. It's, I think everyone has it in front of them. It's evaluating recommendations on bid submission for solid waste collection and disposal. So, Nick, did you ask for this discussion?
Well, what that says basically is the recommendation from our consultant, Wayne DeFeo. What we did is we took bids, and he basically summarized what his findings are of the bids. So before we award, I wanted to make you aware of it and have a discussion on it. It seems like that the low bidder, there was only one bidder, was Roselli, the same hauler that we have presently. He primarily bid on the way we collect presently. We have 2 days in Section A and B, and then 1 day, the Wednesday, is for vegetative. So he basically kept a 5 collection day per week, 4 of garbage and 1 of vegetative waste. And he proposed a 4-year, 10 months, because by the time we award this will be probably March. So we basically asked for a 10-month bid and then 1-year consecutive bids for a total of 5. I think, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we have a 3-year with 2 1-year options, and then we have a straight 5-year.
Mayor, through you.
He's recommending the
Do we, is this
three-year with the
urgent? Do we have to vote on this? Do we have to talk about this now?
Well,
Can we
you
get
have
more time?
until, the new contract should be implemented by March 1st. So you have another month to
Because
think it over.
we just got this, and I don't think we've had
Right,
enough time
well, we
to
wanted to
digest
bring
it.
it to you, make you aware of it, you want to read it, have any of the questions with vegetative waste, and then we'll have another discussion, before we make the award.
We can have a resolution for the next meeting.
I have a couple of questions. Sure. Wasn't this bid opened on December 28th?
Yes.
Okay, so why wasn't this in our packet to, that we could look at it, and now it's a discussion item?
Okay,
Was it because DeFeo didn't get back with
Well, what we
the
did is we took the bids,
summarization?
we forwarded them to DeFeo to do an analysis, and by the time he got them back to us was after the agenda was prepared.
Just so the public's aware, and Councilwoman Murphy is right, we just literally got this tonight. So I doubt any of us have really looked at this in great detail. But one thing that catches my eye, and I'm sure everybody else up here, is that the bid price is 52% higher than the last contract.
Yep, which was anticipated. If you remember, Mr. DeFeo said
He
that it
said
could
that,
go anywhere
50
between
to-
35 and 150, I think he had said at one point. So this is about 50, it was roughly about $8.4 million per year over the next 5 years.
8.8, I think.
Well, it varies. The first year, if you notice, if you analyze the bid, he increases about $500,000 every year. So it could be like, I think it's like under $7 million
not
the
in
first
here.
year, and then it goes to 8.4, 9 million, and then it goes all the way up to 10, I think, at the fifth year.
Wow.
So if we have questions, because this is a
Why
late
don't you,
item. But
again,
let's look at this and
we
then-
wanted to give you
right.
the information. We don't expect you to make
No,
a
no.
decision tonight,
We
but
could
look
re-
it over, and then we could discuss it
We
further,
could
as
revisit
well
it.
as the vegetative
Okay,
waste.
all right. Thank you. Okay, council mail, anybody have anything?
Yes. Council Mail number 1, we received Board of Adjustment applications to fill the vacancy that we have. I would suggest that this council hold interviews because there are some names that I'm not familiar with. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that resumes are one thing, but interviewing the person gives you a whole different perspective of who that person is. So if that requires a motion, I'd like to make that motion that we set up times
Second.
where this council interviews all the applicants. Thank you.
Second.
Can we move, I know there's one here that moves up, he's here for reappointment, Mike Molnar.
We did that already.
Okay.
That was done in.
We did that on.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Do you want me to set up a special meeting?
So,
Yes, please.
We'll do it on an opposite Tuesday night, because that seems to be,
Right, because we're all together, so that has to
Yeah.
be,
so we'll do it on an
Has to be
opposite
advertised,
Tuesday
right?
of the, yeah.
okay.
one thing on that, Ray, in the past, if I remember years ago, we had a system that if 3 council members voted for one of the candidates, those people would be interviewed to consolidate it on candidates. And it was done in between the council meeting night, in between us finishing.
That's
before
true.
the
Years
8 o'clock.
ago, everyone would get the applicants, let's say there's 5, and we would pick 3. Out of those 3, the ones with the most votes, those 3 would be brought in front of the council at the meeting, usually at the beginning, and we would interview them quickly, a couple of minutes each, and then that's how we used to do it.
Well, I think we don't have that many applicants, and these people took time and put in an application. I'd like to interview all of them, not just pick 3 from a resume.
I agree with the councilwoman, particularly because we're going to make it a special meeting anyway, so let's just bring all 5 or 6.
Great,
I
thanks.
agree.
Thanks. Number 4,
Council Mail
Council Mail
4.
number 4. This is about the Passaic Valley Water Commission will be making, I think this would be well received by the entire city of Clifton, improvements to our aging water. It says they are holding quarterly meetings, and I know that in Passaic they've had a quarterly meeting. Can we have quarterly meetings with the Passaic Valley Water Commission, as I had requested a few couple of meetings ago?
Councilor, when you say meaning the council with the,
Yes.
so you want the executive director to attend a meeting every quarter?
Well, he says
Yeah.
the quarterly.
Actually, I present, when you informed me that you wanted that, I contacted the executive director, and he said he was willing to do that.
Okay,
So
great.
if you want to start, next month or 2, I can make him aware and let him know.
Whatever's good for his schedule, if that's okay with everyone.
But typically, the executive director is meeting with the chief administrative officer of each city. So he's meeting with the mayor of Passaic, he's meeting with the mayor of Patterson, and he's meeting with the city manager, who's our chief administrative officer. So those meetings are ongoing. They don't typically meet with the Patterson Council or the Passaic Council. So this would be a little bit of a, in fact, the only meeting that I think he did have with a full council was with us back in August. So, look, I got no objections to it either, and he'd be happy to come here and discuss anything we want to discuss. But typically, these are more administrative, day-to-day operation meetings, talking about hydrant flushing, talking about any construction that may be going on within the Water Commission, problems that the city manager sees. problems that the executive director sees. It really is more of a day-to-day operation thing than it is a general overview. But, I suppose if we want to hear day-to-day operations, he'd be happy.
Mayor, through you to, he had no objection of coming,
Well,
so then
if
I
I
think we
may.
should take him up on it.
Through you, Mayor. So when this council requested, and I understand, Councilman Kaloja, I meet with the executive director, we communicate 3-4 times a week, sometimes every day. I mean, at night, we're always constantly calling each other. But I think the intent here was that the council wanted sort of a quarterly update on what's happening with the Passaic Valley Water. So on that basis, I reached out to Mr. Mueller, and he agreed that he would stop by, for one of the meetings, give a 10, 15-minute presentation, Q&A type of thing, and then he was agreeable to do that.
Great, thanks.
And I agree. I'm trying to establish expectations of what the meeting's going to actually be about.
Any other council mail?
Mayor, number 3.
Bill?
Just briefly, this is very encouraging, especially for with Blue Acres and the state. I think that this is really good. The people's voices have heard. They put the applications in, and it's a major movement for our Blue Acres and the Third River, and the people that will have some kind of relief down there. So I was so glad to see that this came out. And it's important that the people know that we'll be going into the Blue Acres part of it to help these people with their residences.
Mayor, if I may, Councilman Gibson, and you're correct. So this memo basically explains that there are 4 of those residents that are taking advantage of the Blue Acre program. What we did is the city engineer drafted a letter, and we've included this information in the letter as well, to let the rest of those residents know that there's still time to put your name down. So if you're interested in a buyout through Blue Acres, present your information now. They're already accepting application. These 4 are already pretty much on their way of being, being approved. So I shouldn't say it's a process they go through. They don't automatically give you a check. So, but at least these 4 are being considered. Anyone else along the Third River that you've had experienced damage to your house, flooding of your first floor, make the application because you will be considered, and you may get money either to raise up your house or to, for them to buy it.
Okay.
Mayor, a question on that. So I saw in the memo that the state will pay market value. Do they determine market value similar to the way eminent domain determines market value, or do they determine market value in such a fashion that residents who are applying to the program are going to find out they're getting 15% less than what market value really is? Do we know that?
I don't know the answer to that question, Council. I would assume that they would give you a fair market value, meaning what is your house worth or what is your property worth at that time. I don't know how the state conducts them. I'm assuming they have to do some type of an assessment, appraisal of the house, and then, present it to the property owner. But I don't know how they work that process.
Mayor, through you to the city manager.
Go ahead.
With the Green Acres program, I know they require 3 independent appraisals, so I don't know if that's the same, but that is a fair question.
I don't think we've ever had it done for Blue Acres, so we could find out for the next meeting for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other council mail?
Number 6,
Councilman
the board,
Six.
this is the Board of Adjustments annual report where they tell us how many variances and in what categories they have approved. There were 107 applications before the board, 92 were approved, 15 were denied. They also gave us some zoning ordinance changes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I'd like to send this to the zoning committee because I think we need to really seriously start looking at this.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mayor? So I don't know if you're familiar with the purpose of this report is. Yes, at the end of the year, the planner for the zoning board has to give you a report and summarize how many applications were heard, how many approved, and how many denied. But really what should be looked at every year is you have to look at this and say, why are there 200 fence applications that require a variance? So what the planner is telling you is some of these are repetitive applications, and you may want to have your zoning committee look at it into maybe you need to change the ordinance rather than continue to have these residents paid a couple $100 for the permit and having go through a whole process, because if it's telling you that every year you're dealing with the same problems, it's time to correct the ordinance. So you're correct, Councilwoman. This should go to a committee, and an evaluation should be done and say, hey, what do we want to do? Do we want to change the ordinance, or do we want to just continue to do this and the resident has to pay the $200 every time he wants to put up a fence?
But Nick, the board has made recommendations on things like this. Last council, and some passed, some didn't. But you're right, if 200 applications come in and they pass them, they should upgrade that ordinance, because technically the residents are paying for something that they're going to get anyhow. Sort of like the setbacks for the decks, and they wanted the side yard setbacks. They've approached us a few times with this, and maybe with the new council, we really have to start listening to them, because some of those things should be upgraded, and of course, that was an
Mayor,
issue
through
thing here
Mayor,
too.
through you to the city manager. I absolutely agree, and to our council colleagues, we absolutely have to set up a committee, but it has to be expedited so that this thing gets done within a short period of time, not that it languishes like it did in the past.
Absolutely, right.
So I'm definitely in agreement that we definitely should put up
And they've given us some recommendations. You remember
and
that
with
they...
some input from some of the zoning, like
Right, absolutely.
Fabiano and
And they gave good recommendations. We didn't pass them all, but we should have. But this time, maybe we should really, and you're right, it should be expedited fairly quickly. Plus, it cuts down on the applications. They won't have, they can serve more people. If they have 200 less applications a year, it's better for the residents. So we'll work on that.
I agree. I agree. Mayor, through you also, if you remember the last committee, we had so many other suggestions that then it went to the lawyers, and excuse me, but the lawyers dropped the ball and never got anything doing, so.
Councilwoman,
it is.
quite to the contrary. I was just
We did.
discussing with Mr. Valano. We actually drafted some of these ordinances, put them on, then they were tabled by the council.
Not the one with parking with houses of
That's
worship.
the only one that required
Well,
further...
that's the one I was looking at.
Further discussion due to RLUIPA concerns, and that was actually referred back to the planners to come up with proposals on a square footage basis, which is the recommendation that just came back. But
Then
the
we
other-
should
the
correct
other
these
ones
as
were
soon as
done.
possible, bring it to the council so we could pass
Yes.
them, at a timely fashion. So any other council mail?
It's Council Meal 10.
Council mail 10, that's on delayed items.
Me and this was given to us as a late item. Could you just tell us a little bit about this so everyone can hear?
Sure. So if you remember at the last meeting, the council questioned what is being done with the library, the main memorial library, with the heating system. If you remember, there was, the boiler failed. We're trying to find out why a boiler failed in 3 years, but that's a whole separate issue. What the library has done is that they brought in a temporary heating to keep pipes and things from freezing, but they're moving forward with the actual boiler replacement. So they're going to be getting a new boiler and doing that work. I will stay involved, just so if I could offer any assistance in moving this forward, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Have a motion to go into closed session? Oh, you have to, okay, sorry, please read it.
Whereas the municipal council deems it essential in the furtherance of the public interest to discuss in closed session as expressly permitted by NJSA 10:4-12 the following subjects to it. CON1, authorization to approve salary increase, court administrator. CON2, confidential employee salary increases. CON3, legal opinion regarding conflict of interest. Now therefore be it resolved that the public should be included in the portion of the council's meeting to be held up on January 3rd, at which time said subject should be discussed. Be it further concluded.
Motion to go in closed session.
Second.
We're here, right?